Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Alessandro Canella, I'm co-founder and head of growth here at Growy. First of all, I wanted to thank you for to participating to this webinar. And here we are talking about a series. This is actually AI on the ground. This is actually a webinar series where we address artificial intelligence in traditional industries. To give you a little bit of context, as Growy, we work with a medium to large size organization in deskless industries. So we talk about retail, manufacturing, logistic, hospitality. And what we realize working with our clients and discovering more about the industry is that the most of the time traditional industries, which are not that much tech oriented, knows obviously about AI and the power that there is behind artificial intelligence. But then there are also some sort of doubts or challenges on actually understanding how that could be applied into their business, into their day-to-day, into their operation. And out of these questions that were coming out, we decided to create this series. And today is the first webinar. We talk about AI on the manufacturing industry. And in the following webinar, we will address the retail industry and also the logistic one. So we are also lucky today that we have two great professionals with us. We have Roberto Aiello, which will be moderating the whole webinar, and has got an incredible career on the learning design. So we talk about L&D. He's been working in great companies like Zendesk, currently working in Personio, and he's also our global expansion advisor here at Growy. And then we have another great friend and professional, which is Christopher Vassallo Cesareo, an entrepreneur based in Malta. He's got a great company in the manufacturing field, and we've done some AI integration into their company. We're working together since several months. So the objective of the conversation of today is having Roberto and Christopher talking about artificial intelligence, understanding how Christopher was handling daily issues, daily challenges before implementing AI, and how it's actually handling these challenges today with the AI. So the objective is to answer to the key the questions that you might have. So also if you have anything that comes into your mind, again, feel free to share it on the chat. And at the end of the webinar, there will be also a Q&A session. So I would say, Roberto, if we can start. And thank you very much, everybody, and Roberto and Christopher.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thanks for the intro. So since you already introduced us, we don't need to say anything more, and we can just dive into it, I would say. So hi everyone again, and welcome. Today's session will be very conversational. We'll explore real examples from the factory floor, and we want you to think about how these challenges show up in your own context. And so, Christopher, you've been already introduced as well by Alessandro. So I would say, let's start with this conversation. And we'll try to go through like this in a storytelling fashion. So we will talk about like how was before AI for you, Christopher, how was the transition, and forward to today, how is it? So let's start with the first question I have for you. So Christopher, before introducing AI, what were the biggest challenges you and your teams were facing?
Hi, good evening, and thank you very much for the invitation to be here with you this evening. Okay, so let's give a bit of context. The company I run is a furniture manufacturing company. So we have our own manufacturing plant, and we also have our own retail showroom set up in Valley Road. So we have just like two businesses in one, but two very, very important lines of business for the company that I had. The main issues we were facing before AI where I would break them down in 4 areas. I would break them down in area of production, an area of retail, let's say front of house. So when our clients experience start at the showroom with our sales team, I would then say the training of our staff, whether they're at the factory level or salespeople within our showroom representing 16 brands. And then I would say last, which at first didn't really come to mind when I started looking at the advantages of AI. But the last one, the last pillar, has become even more important for me as a business owner, as a father of 2 boys. And this pillar is succession. And I can obviously gladly explain in detail all 4 of them. But the succession one was also something that, as I learned more of the advantages of AI, I realized that there is a lot of untapped and unspoken potential of AI in this area.
So let's say, like, it's obviously like in many people like you doing this job, like there are so many things on your plate every day. So I mean, these pillars sound really like massive to manage, especially like if we are thinking to handle in a traditional fashion, in a traditional way.
Yeah.
So thinking again, like without AI, so not today, without anything you implemented today,
Okay.
how were you handling all these aspects back
Okay. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, sure, Roberto. So as you can imagine, family-run business, small to medium size, conscious of costs, conscious of overheads. You try to manage pretty much everything. So before AI, the facilities, the experience was, so with regards to production, we would have a system, even if it's a small introduction to CRM, you're always cost conscious. Can the system help you scale up? With always then that discipline and that sudden change mindset to be able to implement such a strict system, which with the size of most of the operations we have in Malta, financially, we always come across that issue. So yes, before AI, we used to have to follow this up either with regular meetings, regular emails, regular checks by myself, or by somebody else within the company that I could obviously trust in that area. But what would happen is that the level of attention was always different, was never constant. If then an issue happened on a site or on a project or a delay, even if a simple container got delayed, then suddenly one's attention is moved into that area. So as much as it looks like firefighting and crisis management to the people on the ground running businesses of our size, it sounds a normal day-to-day operation. But in reality, for me as a business owner now, and I'm talking of the person that should be steering the ship, getting the opportunity to look up, bird's eye view, plan the future, come up with some strategy, come up with more ideas on growth of where this company, you wouldn't be in a position to, because you would automatically get distracted by too many nitty-gritty micro, which are important. I'm not underestimating them. But when one considers the importance of my time and what issue I should be looking at, then one becomes more conscious. And I think, and I think another thing that also pushed me and my team to look into this further was the famous issues that we all have across the line, which is human capital. As much as the intentions are good, we want to recruit, we want to employ, the scaling up is not easy. There's the training issue there. The level of training might not always be constant. No fault of the person you're training, but maybe they haven't grasped the full knowledge. Their eagerness to get the job once it constantly says, yes, I have understood, you obviously believe, and then the only way to find out is on the job experience, which at that point in time can be too late. So you've either given a bad experience to your client, or you've had to regroup and do the job again. So these are day-to-day and small day-to-day issues that one would face, which would have been normal behavior up until this level of technology became more available and more accessible. The other thing is, for instance, I mentioned training. One of the issues we have is when you have 16 brands, or even one brand in reality, each brand keeps updating themselves, either whether it's product knowledge or uses or collections or price changes. So you need to constantly train your staff.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, the way it was done before, our sales manager would get trained and then train the rest of his or her team. In our case, it's a he, so he would train the rest of his team. Now, not every other salesperson would engage the same way or be able to take on the product knowledge at the same speed. Two things are happening. One, that the sales manager is obviously dedicating time in training, which is useful. However, being distracted from his main core role, which is selling and making sure that the team are following up the client's leads. And now obviously our clients also getting that experience that they duly deserve. And second, you'll have team members not feeling comfortable enough either to say, hey, I haven't understood this, or making mistakes. Can you outsource this? Of course you can. You can outsource it, but then that person that you outsource to you needs to understand your products as well as, if not more, than your own team. And that usually is an issue to find somebody so competent in such specific areas. And secondly, with regard when it comes to costs, that then it suddenly becomes a big cost because you have a sales team and obviously you're getting somebody from outsourced to specifically train on your key product knowledge. I'm not talking of sales techniques here or upselling, not that level of technique sales. So here I can obviously explain if you wished how we managed to tackle this through AI. But that was certainly one area where we found useful. Then on the level, if I may, on the level of succession, since I did mention it and I gave it so importance in my intro, obviously as I run a family business and I am second generation and we are moving to the third generation, there are certain values and certain ethoses, and the DNA of our business, like every other business, is different. And I do wish to find ways, I've always tried to find ways to be able to pass on the knowledge, good or bad, because I still believe at the end of the day, the future still need to make their own mistakes because it's part of the learning experience. But if there are ways, and there are ways through this AI tool which we are using, then this knowledge can be passed on, improved upon as obviously time develops, and is there to be used as a good tool to be able to turn back to.
Okay.
Sorry, you were going to ask me. Apologies, I interrupted you.
No, and you said many important things. You mentioned yourself like day-to-day operations, so I'm sure many people can relate to that. Even in my line of business in L&D, customer education, like the concept of keeping people upskilled and skilled people while they are already on the. So it's not only the onboarding, but it's also while they are on job and making sure that they keep themselves up to date for the benefit of customers and the business. It's always a challenge I hear from many sides. Like many people have the same, like, how can we make this more efficient? So, all right, so you have your day-to-day operations, and you eventually started thinking like, hey, there is this new thing, AI is coming. how can AI maybe can help us solve some of these problems. So what made you think AI could actually help solve those problems or some of them?
Okay, the main reason was that obviously, like I said, human capital is an issue. So with AI, I can multiply my workforce, my task force to no extent. So I can replicate. I can really replicate as quick as I want to move. And I can also, in parallel to that, I can remove, let's call them, lack of a better word, mundane tasks to my AI agents, my avatars, call them what you wish, to be able to siphon through those tasks that were taking up time from my key people, and they were not having enough time to focus on the key tasks that I wanted them to do. And in reality, not even I wanting them to do, they themselves want to do them because they know that their KPIs and their job is to do that. But if they're caught up with mundane jobs and mundane tasks, then yes, they have to be done because they are responsible. But then there is a limit, and then you get a give and take situation, and then you also get cracks in the system, and that's really not good.
Yeah, of course. So can we say that when you were thinking about AI, you were thinking about exactly AI helping you with the most repetitive tasks, the less impactful, so your people could really focus on what is more impactful, right? So, right?
That absolutely, and another one which we underestimate is speed. So, and what do I mean by speed? So, for instance, we have we've started to connect our machinery within our factory to an AI agent, where we have inputted the manuals of our machines, so they know the manuals, they know how to. Technically, they could operate them, but I'm not going to that level. What I mean is, they know the mechanics of our machinery. So the minute a fault is registered on one of our machines, the AI agent has already gone through the manual to be able to come up with some recommendations. So even us, when we are requesting help, assistance from our technicians, and most of the time they're overseas, we have to connect, we're in a better position to speed up that process. Hence, I'm obviously naturally reducing our downtime of production, which, as we all know, costs a lot of money, and helps engage with our machine operators and the technicians in Italy, in this case, much faster and much smoother. They also automatically, the system also triggers the email to our supplier in Italy. So I don't depend on my machine operator if he or she is fast enough to send that email, or end of day, I'll send it tomorrow. None of that. The machine is down. There is the AI agent finds out what the reason is and acts according to that request. Quick, immediate. There's no time delay.
And I think that's a great implementation of AI for automation and to handle support. And I would like you to get more maybe into some other details in a second. But before moving to really how you implemented and what's look like today for you, let's get back a second, at when you decided to implement AI. Was there any doubts or resistance at first, from your team, from other people in leadership, when it was about to?
Yes, the usual concern originally was, that it's going to replace. You're trying to replace some jobs. You're trying to replace some personnel. It's not, the AI is still not perfected, because obviously one it was a matter of trust, in the sense, what is the AI agent really going to be used for? And the other issue is it gets confused with ChatGPT, which two different worlds. Two different worlds. It's the part of it, but it assists. But it's two different worlds. I think once the team realized the direction and the advantages, and like anything else, it's a matter of starting to feel comfortable with it. So, and that is change ultimately. But I feel the way we did this was a slow implementation. We did not just dive in blindly. So we tested it softly. We played with it. We played it with regards to design. We played it where areas where the team, the respective team member felt comfortable with. So, for instance, if our sales manager in this case, would have a conversation with me and say, "Listen, Chris, the training the team is taking up so much of my time." Okay, perfect. That was a hurt point. That was an issue. He wasn't saying I don't wish to do it. He was saying that it's taking up time, and obviously it's affecting his performance and his focus. So there was a perfect entry point for us to introduce the advantages of being assisted, because that's the key word, not replaced, assisted by the correct AI agent. So at that point, what we did was we collated the information of one particular brand, we inputted it, we got our agent to understand it. When there was an upgrade or an information session, that information session was passed on and inputted also. So yes, the sales manager was physically present, but it was physically inputted, recorded into the AI agent. So all the information was passed on. What happened next? What happened next was that the implementation of the training session was not done by the sales manager. It was done by an avatar who was able to relay that information. And I think that on its own is priceless. So we've saved the time of our sales manager. I understood his hurts. Today, he has obviously taken it in favor, and he wants to see how we can push this development further. And third, I have a sales team now where I know where I need to train.
That's absolutely wonderful, Christopher. Like, if I may say, like you already anticipated my next question. No, that's
Sorry
great.
about that.
No, it was great listening to you. I think I hope the same for the other people online, because I mean I wanted to ask you, like, fast forward to today, how AI is supporting your teams on the factory floor, and you already gave so many examples. And to be honest, like the examples you mentioned, you gave us, like, are, I would say, amongst the most innovative examples of how use AI in on the daily basis on the job. So that was great. Like I mean, automatically I would think, like, what you say is just that implementing AI in this way improved the efficiency of your team, because it just allowed them to focus on work that really mattered, that mattered the most. And also for onboarding, like what you said about the system being able to report on the attention of the person while working and listening to some training, and it's just informing you also how to improve on that training, like what to change and how to better enable your people. So I mean, unless you have another example, but I think those were already great. I would just focus now, like, on other than this efficiency, maybe process consistency, like what kind of other results have you seen? Maybe something measurable, do you have some tricks to share?
Yes, what I mean, I am always, in a quandrum where what models I should put on our shop floor. So we have a retail outlet, like I said. So we constantly are looking at what products to put on the shop floor, where to put them on the shop floor, how fast does this model sell, and without data, we sort of think, oh, this is a great sofa. We've sold this sofa so well, it's our best model, and this color is the color. And then you look at the numbers that because now the aim is to collate our information, and as the AI grows with us, because ultimately that's what's happening, the information is being fed in. We start realizing that, oh, wait a moment, that sofa isn't as great as we thought. That color isn't as great as we thought. And suddenly at my disposal, I have much better or more detailed information. I know you can get this if you have to print out your sales reports and you get your summaries, but when you start being in a position that you can actually have almost a conversation, I would say, with your AI agent, so the knowledge, or rather the statistics, is there, but not static. You haven't just printed out an Excel sheet. You've actually got a conversation going. So the information has been analyzed and is in a position, if asked the right questions, to challenge. So, maybe when I see a spreadsheet and I see the sofa maybe didn't sell for 4 weeks, with an AI agent, I can be challenged and be told, listen, but are you sure the position or within the showroom was correct? Was the lighting correct? Have you tried moving it upstairs or downstairs? Have you tried to combine it with another dining area? And suddenly you start realizing that it's not as static, that the numbers on an Excel sheet aren't just, okay, ditch it. It hasn't worked, ditch it. It's not at all. So I think you're in a better position to make more informed decisions. I would say, and I think that is one very tangible example.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So, I mean, I love to hear about all those stories, and I'm sure the audience as well today found all that. If I would like you to give some advice to the people that maybe came here also for this. Like if someone here wants to start small implementing AI, what's the one pilot you would recommend, or what would be the one thing you would recommend to start with?
Okay, like I said, I think that if a company has a particular hurt point, start with a hurt point. Why? Because when you start solving the hurt points, you automatically get buy-in. You get buy-in from management, from your staff, from your team, because you are there trying to solve a problem, an issue. And usually you're not the only one experiencing or facing this issue. So if you have a team and everybody, it's a commonality, this issue is a commonality, then suddenly if you manage to present an idea of a solution, because obviously you're still maybe a little bit skeptic or not 100% sure of how to handle it. So you've presented an idea and you say, hey, listen, guys, why don't we try this AI, and let's see if we can manage to solve this. There's nothing to lose at this point because you have an issue, you have a problem on the table, and ultimately it needs to be solved, because when what happens, it can either grow bigger, the problem, your team members, some of them could leave, some of them could get disheartened, it becomes a demotivating factor. So when you associate all the negativities associated with that problem, particular issue, you've got nothing to lose, I guess. And I would just try a hurt point. In my case, my main turning point was, like I said, my sales manager, having this issue with trying to keep up with training the sales team on our products, and I just could not afford to have my team distracted with their core competence, which is ultimately sales.
Thanks. Yeah, that makes sense. I have a last question for you, Christopher. So let's say, if you could dream, what's one thing you wish AI could do for you tomorrow?
Well, I think this is now showing my age, obviously. I think the more I can control or manage things remotely, I think the happier I would be. But, I mean, that's far-fetched. Nothing beats the human contact ultimately. I think the more we use technology, the more we appreciate that physical contact. So I believe my ultimate dream would be, or vision would be, to be able to manage my skills, which I feel are people, networking, people, contact with people, creating new business, creating new opportunities, coaching, mentoring, advising. So my ultimate would be able to free up my time from the mundane tasks that we mentioned, to be able to ultimately spend more time doing what I enjoy. So, but still running my business, because I do enjoy it.
I think that's a beautiful, yeah. I think that's a beautiful dream. And I think it frames exactly like what we keep hearing every day, like when we say, and I think that can sum up all the session, saying that really AI is here, and we try to make it now not to replace people, but really AI is here to empower people. And I'm glad that there are people like you that are using it in this way. I think that's great. All right. Well, thanks,
Thank you.
Christopher. Thanks so much for the honest insights. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, Alessandro, for this opportunity. I don't see any question in the chat, but I would just give the opportunity to anyone if you have any questions for Christopher or Alessandro or me to write in the chat. If there are no questions, then I guess we can just wrap it up.
If anyone wishes to reach out to me after the session on a personal level, I can gladly meet up for a coffee. Absolutely pleasure. Not a problem at all.
Thank you, Christopher. And I'm sure, Alessandro, people will receive the recording after this, right?
Yes, correct, Robbie. Obviously, Chris and Robbie, thank you very much for this webinar. It was really interesting. Love it. Yes, of course. So all the participants will receive the recorded version of this webinar, so they will have it if they want to go back. Again, if there are any question or anything that want to dive in more, very open to talk.
And I'm sure, like, if people maybe don't have questions now, but in the future, connect with Christopher or with Ale, ask more information about Growy. And I would just remind people also, like, we're gonna have the second webinar in the series about retail, and it's gonna happen in November. We don't have a date yet, but we will post it. We will promote this on LinkedIn and on the usual channels. So I guess, yeah, for now then, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and thanks for joining us today again.
Thank you so much all. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Chris.